Welcome or welcome back to my channel. This is ASO Tarot, and in today's pick a card reading, we are going to be looking at a past life love connection of yours. So we have 4 piles today, but before we get into it, I do want to talk about past lives and give a bit of a content warning here, because our past lives are not always sunshines and rainbows, and so I kind of just want you to be aware of that up front, because the topics that we talk about might be pretty heavy. If you can't tell, the world right now is just a giant steaming pile of cow dung. And you learn this when you study history. I actually got a history minor, fun fact. I am a huge history nerd. And it was just as much of a giant steaming pile of cow dung in the past, if not more of one. Luckily, modern technology does make life a little bit easier, but it creates other problems. And that's all. This is a tarot reading. Okay, anyway. So my point in saying that is that if you're looking for a fluffy reading where it's all sunshines and rainbows, you're probably going to be disappointed. But there could be very interesting insights. Oh, by the way, there's no one outside screaming. It's just like really windy. Anyway, there is a good chance that there will be things in here that are kind of heavy, but it could potentially explain why you have certain attitudes or beliefs about love in the present, or it could explain maybe why you have a connection to somebody and you don't understand why. So I'm really excited to see what's going to be in here, but I did just want to give you guys that little heads up, because I don't want you to go into this thinking it's gonna be like, oh my gosh, you guys were a king and a queen and you were really happy and life was amazing forever and ever. Because I mean, y'all have seen, like, it doesn't work that way. So we have 4 piles to choose from today. We have pile 1 with the Cosmic Slumber Tarot and this Amethyst Sphere. We have pile 2 with the Guided Hand Tarot and the Strawberry Quartz. We have pile 3 with the Synesthesia Tarot and the Opalite Merkaba. And we have pile 4 with the Embroidered Forest Tarot and this Thulite, hopefully I'm saying that correctly, stone. So go ahead and pause the video if you need to decide which pile you feel most drawn to. It's absolutely okay to be drawn to more than one. You know, these might be about different past life connections. And one thing I do want to say is that it's very likely that just within these piles, the actual time and place where these occurred might be different, but the main ideas remain the same. So once you picked your pile, you can go ahead and scroll down to the description box below or the comments section, where I will have all the timestamps for each of the piles. And then once you've picked it, we will get into your reading. Hi there, pile 1. If you guys chose this Amethyst Sphere, this is going to be your reading. So we're going to use the Cosmic Slumber Tarot to look at the timeline of this past life connection and kind of the details of what happened. But first, I want to see what the overall lesson was for this connection, and then on top of that, who each of you were. So I'm just going to quickly lay out the cards first. So to start, we have Rock Bottom, and then we have Compass. These are probably not in the frame, so let me move them down. And then we have Share Wisdom. And now we'll get into both parties in this connection. So to start, we have the Cobra. And then with the Cobra, the attributes and things like that, I actually think I'm gonna move it over here, is the Mentor in reverse. So the shadow attribute says inability to allow the student to improve onto the role of master, imparting false instruction. And then the tea leaf cards for the Cobra are Axe, forces working against you. The month of November, and what I want to say for the months is check your south node to see what sign your south node is in, because it is possible that you were that sign in this past life or just in a past life. And then we also have Cracked Cup, dissatisfaction with life, and chain of events that will affect your life. And then the other person in this connection is being represented by the butterfly, and Judge. And the shadow attribute and the light attribute actually persist for this one. So balancing justice and compassion, managing the fair distribution of power, and offering only destructive criticism, misusing business, legal, or criminal authority. And finally, we have the Beetle, good fortune, not unsuccessful plans, June, and Bear, danger, especially in money matters. So let me make sure this is all in the frame. Yeehaw, it is. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with this connection, because this is quite interesting, and it may be difficult for you to know which is you and which is the other person. So that's why I suggested maybe looking at your South Node. It might give you a better idea, but this could be a past life way in the past, so who knows. But in terms of June, we would have Cancer and Gemini there, and with November we would have Scorpio and Sagittarius. So let's look at this. So the first person in this connection could have also had fire placements, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, or they could have just embodied those sorts of things. The Cobra represents fire energy. And what it seems like for this Cobra person, they did not have a good time in this life. And in fact, it's kind of like they enrolled in the school of hard knocks for the entire time that they were there. With this rock bottom card, I feel like this person probably grew up pretty poor, and honestly, bottom of the totem pole. Could have been the bottom of a caste system, bottom class, kind of proletariat energy. But this person definitely wasn't happy with this. And it seems like, especially with this student card here, the first person in this connection, the entire point for them to be in this lifetime was to just learn tough lessons. This was kind of it's definitely a life that is imprinted on this soul, whether it's yours or the other person's, and that could manifest in a way of having a fear of not having enough money, a fear of not being abundant enough, or it could manifest as a drive to always succeed, a drive to be satisfied with life, a drive to overcome the consequences. And I feel like whenever this time period happened, it was a lot harder for this person to get out of their circumstances, because with this Axe card, the forces working against you, I definitely feel like there was some type of like rigorous class system or caste system where it was harder to get out of whatever class you were in. So like one thing that I could see maybe is like this person could have been like a serf or something like that. And at the same time though, I feel like the other person in this connection, the butterfly, probably had the same thing going on. So where I feel like you and this person met, actually no, I should go into the butterfly person first, sorry. So the butterfly person is being represented by June. So Gemini energy is pretty big here because the butterfly represents the air signs. So Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. And it seems like the person who was the butterfly, they actually got a second chance at life. And the biggest vibe that I'm getting with this rock bottom and this compass is that these two people, the Cobra and the butterfly, you both met traveling. And I'm feeling like it was by boat. It certainly doesn't have to be. But one thing that I'm seeing is that you and this person met each other at a time when you both weren't feeling very great. It seems like there was a lot of hardships in life, and you both really bonded over that. It's like it kind of happened in the second part of your life is what I am hearing. Now with this butterfly person, the energy that I get is that this Cobra person was a man and this butterfly person was a woman. And the reason why Spirit is stressing that to me is because the societal conventions around those two genders. So I feel like with this butterfly person if this was you or your person, they seem to be very kind, very caring. But it kind of seems like, in terms of forces working against you, because I think the forces were working against the both of you, I feel like this butterfly person was put into an arranged marriage at a young age. And for whatever reason, either this spouse died, or something like, or the marriage never happened, is kind of what I'm seeing. But I feel like this butterfly person knew that they were in danger. So it's possible they could have married this person and maybe they had some wealth or abundance, and there could have been other people trying to get that money or something like that. The butterfly talks about transformation, and so I feel like this butterfly person meeting the cobra gave them the chance to have a second life almost. It's like the butterfly person, I feel like the butterfly person was honestly fleeing the area, and the cobra person knew that they had to leave. And so I feel like these two people met while traveling, and then they realized, oh, maybe the universe brought us into our lives for a reason. Because the lesson between the both of you is share wisdom. And so I feel like Spirit brought you both into one another's lives to teach each other things that you both wouldn't have learned any other way. And what I think is really interesting about this is that despite you both being so different, it's like you both went somewhere else and started over. You found a new place to be. And it's like, because you were in this new place, like this, I'm hearing the new world. So maybe it's possible you and this person went by boat to the Americas at some point. It's possible that you and this person met. I am hearing train, so it's possible maybe you met on a train going to a different country, specifically somewhere in Europe or Asia is kind of like what I'm hearing. There's so many different possibilities here. It's kind of hard to know. But what I'm seeing here is that it seems like you and this person both had it tough in life, and a lot of unlucky circumstances that happened around you. And it seems like because of this butterfly's good fortune, they were able to get out of anything that they were tied to that wasn't serving them and have this fresh start. I do feel like with misusing business, legal, or criminal authority, I do think it's possible that this butterfly person, you might have, if especially you or them or this person might have taken this, like if you were a widower or something like that, or you were going to be forced to marry somebody that you didn't want to marry, I feel like you might have like taken some stuff to support yourself and just gone in the night waiting to transform. So it's really, really interesting. So I feel like these two, you both were definitely very free spirits. And I think that the butterfly person was probably more compassionate. It seems like the cobra person, they had a bit of a hot head, and I feel like they were probably doing manual labor of some kind. And I feel like they just realized that they would never get out of their situation if they stayed there. And because they were dissatisfied, they decided to move forward. And now I'm just noticing in this chain there are countries. So this kind of looks like Italy to me. But I don't know. It's very, that boot kind of looked like Italy. But then if I think about the northern tip of Africa, doesn't look like this. So I was like, is this the Mediterranean Sea? But it's not, because I was like, if it's the Mediterranean Sea, like, shouldn't it be? I'm not a geography expert, but I was like trying to see if maybe some of the countries would show up here. And it's kind of, I can't really tell from the outlines. I just thought that kind of like looked like the boot of Italy, but at the same time, this tip thing right here kind of looks like the northern part of France. Because I know the like northern Africa, like that, Morocco, like up there, it doesn't look like that on a map. So I don't know if this is just random countries, but this could have been pretty much anywhere. But what I'm seeing here is that you both left wherever you grew up to start a better life. And you ended up meeting each other through this decision to leave. And I think as a result, You both had a lot of wisdom and knowledge to give one another, but also to help each other in the remaining parts of your life. So I'm really interested to see what the tarot cards are going to say, because I'm honestly not sure if you ended up staying together. We'll have to see, but it kind of seems like with this good fortune and this beetle and this butterfly, I feel like the butterfly person, the Cobra person, they definitely had it tough for most of their life. And it took them being fed up and realizing that it can't get any worse than how it is now in order for them to finally seek refuge elsewhere. They might have been chained to their land, so that would be serfdom. That would make sense. They could have been like a farmhand or something like that. But it definitely seems like they had to give up a lot in order to leave. And they might have actually disappointed certain people in their family. But it seems like this person needed to learn more from their life that they just couldn't learn where they were. And so they decided that they needed to head out. And I feel like for the butterfly person, they knew that if their circumstances were not going to get any better where they were. So they decided that they would rather take their chances elsewhere, go travel, and see what happens. I wonder if we can see on the compass, is there any sign that we can see? Oh, okay. So on the sign right here is pointing to it's pointing to Aquarius on here, and then down here the pointy thing is in between Libra and Virgo. So those could have been signs as well. But now we're going to get into the tarot, and we are going to look at this love story. So I'm going to move these back here. I kind of want to keep the share wisdom card, but I'll move it aside for now just because I don't know how much space we're going to have. But you guys chose the Cosmic Slumber Tarot. So we are just going to see the events of this relationship and what Spirit wants you to know about it. I love doing these past life readings because as a history nerd, I'm like trying to think of the possibilities of where these could have happened. But truthfully, my beliefs in terms of past lives, like I feel like we could have had, quote, past lives in the future. Like I don't believe, like I see time as linear, but I just think it's totally possible that our souls have different lifetimes and different dimensions and different time periods. And I would not be surprised if we just hop a lot, you know what I mean? But we are going to see now, Spirit, give me the timeline of this romantic connection. Okay, so we have the Knight of Swords, or the Prince of Swords. What happened in this connection? Okay, the Nine of Cups in reverse. What happened? Okay, Strength, which way do you want to go? Okay, Strength wants to be upright, so we'll take it that way. Tell me about the story of this connection. Okay, so the Four of Swords in reverse. Spirit, tell me about this love story. The Fool in reverse. And on the back of the deck, Judgment. Okay, so what I feel like this is showing me is where you both were before you met. And this is kind of leading up to what happened here. So for the Cobra, essentially what happened is that the Cobra they were essentially realizing that they were never going to progress. With this Knight of Swords here, I feel like this Cobra definitely had a hot head, like a very, very pronounced temper. And especially with Strength, we have that Leo energy there. In Aries with the Fool, they could have been especially prideful or stubborn. But we also do have, because this is a sword suit, I feel like this Cobra person had a very sharp tongue and honestly could have gotten themselves into some trouble by saying something. It's possible that they could have been they could have had to flee as well. It almost kind of seems like with this Knight of Swords here, this the Cobra person, they said the wrong things to the wrong people, and then they knew that they were about to pay the price, so to speak. They might have given somebody the wrong information, or they might have told the wrong people certain things, or there could have been people talking behind this Cobra person's back. It definitely seems like this Cobra person only decided to flee once they realized like they had no other choice, because I do feel like in some way they always dreamed about starting over. They knew that they weren't happy in their current life, but they never, and the vibe that I'm getting is that this Cobra person, they were single. Like they didn't have anyone. They weren't with anybody. They could have been the type of person to like, you know, have casual things, but I feel like this Cobra person just realized like they didn't have any money, they didn't have anything to support anyone with, and I think that they had made the decision that they didn't want to have children because they knew that those children would be born into the same system that they were born into, and they didn't want to subject their children to that. And so this Cobra person knew on how unhappy they were on their own, and they realized like having kids is not going to benefit me in this way. So they knew how unhappy they were, but once this thing happened, they realized that they didn't even have time to think about it. They were like, I have to leave now. It was like this huge wake-up call with judgment. They realized like it was now or never, like, because if they stuck around, if they hesitated on leaving, they were probably going to get in trouble, and like what I'm hearing is get arrested. So I wonder if this was because we do have forces working against you and chain of events that will affect your life. So I wonder if this person said something to the wrong thing, and it was just, and there might have been outside forces already against this person, because they do have this intense like fiery personality, and when you're in a less fortunate, or when you're in like a really shitty societal situation like this person was, they were like, well, I have nothing to lose. I might as well flee and try to go somewhere else. And what I'm seeing here is that this person had a last minute opportunity to flee, to go somewhere else, and they took it. They realized it was now or never. I'm never going to get this fresh start anywhere, and I better leave now, because otherwise I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. And it took a lot for this person to leave. And I think that they knew by leaving, they were leaving everything they'd ever known behind, the people that they love, their family. But I think also in order to protect their family, this person did have to leave. Now for the butterfly, it's a different story. This butterfly, I feel like, was set to be married to some kind of Prince of Swords person. They were a womanizer. They were very verbally abusive, truthfully, and really mean. Like the vibe that I'm getting is that they were really mean. And I feel like this person was in a better financial situation than whether this was you or your person. They were in a much worse financial situation, this butterfly person was, and their family was pressuring the butterfly person to marry them, or they were arranged to marry them, or this was happening. It wasn't even pressure, it was like, this is happening. And I think that this butterfly person was very afraid. Oh my, okay, so for some of you, I'm hearing this butterfly person, they might have actually gotten this Knight of Swords person out of the way. And by that I mean like might have oh my god, wait, okay. For some of you, it might actually be too that maybe this Cobra and butterfly did know each other. The Cobra murdered, I mean, wait, I'm not supposed to say that, the YouTube algorithm. The Cobra, the butterfly and the Cobra might have schemed to get this person, the person that the butterfly person was supposed to marry to, out of the way. So for some of you, that might have happened, which like tea. But also, if not, I feel like this butterfly person could have poisoned or something like that, this Prince of Swords, and gotten them out of the way. Or they ran away. or they died naturally. Like I said, it's a general reading, so there's a lot of different possibilities. But what I think is really interesting is maybe some of you did know that. Maybe some of you did know each other already. But I feel like for a lot of you, you met traveling. So here's what I'm seeing here. So for the butterfly person, obviously they were really unhappy. They didn't want this to be their life. And they knew that they had to get out if they wanted to have a better life. So for them, it was this realization, it's now or never. And so I think for both parties here, it's like you both just realized, whether in your separate situations or because you two had already met and you realized that you both were the person for one another, that you had to make some moves and get the hell out before one or both of you ended up in prison, flat broke, just completely wiped off the face of the planet, through some murdered. If you've ever seen The Simpsons, I love saying like murdered because like it just reminds me of Flanders, and honestly that might get me around the like algorithm, so I might just say they might have gotten murdered like from now on, I don't know. But let's see. So Spirit, after this Cobra and Butterfly were together, what happened? What was their love story like? So we have the Morning in reverse. What happened, Spirit? We have the Five of Wands in reverse. What happened between these two, Spirit? Okay, so we have Justice in reverse. We have the Hierophant upright. Okay. One more, please, Spirit. We have Temperance in reverse, and on the back of the deck, we have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Okay. So this is actually really, really beautiful. So when you guys fled, wherever it is that you were, it's almost like you both fled into hiding. And so that could have been by journeying somewhere very far, or, yeah, because if you and this person left together, then you definitely journeyed somewhere far. But I feel like for a lot of you, you and this person, what is it? What are you saying to me? Okay, sorry. I was hearing things in my head. So you and this person, a lot of you did meet while traveling, and it's important for me to say that things weren't much easier to this place that you traveled to. But what Spirit is telling me is that they brought both of you together, and I do believe that you actually stayed together with this person. If not, what? Oh, geez. Okay, so it does kind of seem like for some of you, one of you might have passed away quite quickly after you both were married. Because what I'm seeing here is that you both were married. You got married to one another, whether in spirit or in the 3D. I do think that you both were partners and connected by a higher spiritual meaning. It's like you both knew that Spirit brought you both into each other's lives for a reason. And with the Morning in reverse and the Five of Wands in reverse, it seems like you had a very harmonious connection, but with Justice being in reverse, there was just a lot of crappy circumstances around you guys. And with the Morning here, I feel like, you know, maybe you both had to constantly work just to support yourselves. I could honestly see this butterfly person having children, and maybe that's part of the transformation, becoming a mother. But I definitely think the connection itself was pretty harmonious between the two of you. But with Temperance and the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, I feel like the circumstances surrounding you didn't get much better. And what I mean by that is like, the place that you moved to, it was either incredibly underdeveloped or you were on like the bottom of the food chain in this new place, and you essentially both had to start over from nothing. And there was a lack of balance in terms of like being able to spend adequate time with one another. And that's why for some of you, I feel like it's possible that this person, which I think honestly, if they died, I think it was the Cobra person, they might have passed away either in an accident or from sickness. And the butterfly person was left with children. And they were either one child or multiple. And that was kind of all they had left of the Cobra person. But with this Hierophant here, I think this goes to show the strength of the connection. So, but maybe with Justice in reverse, these two didn't get officially married. Like, maybe you both were going to get married and then the Cobra person or the butterfly person passed away or something like that. It's really interesting because kind of what Spirit is showing me is like, you both got to be together and be conjoined in spirit, but it's like you didn't have a long time together. And maybe that's because you both were later in your lives, and in past lives, like 25 is like ancient, like, you know what I mean? You get into your 40s and people are like, wow, you're still kicking, huh? That's really great. You're a senior citizen. So I feel like even though you both made each other really happy and this was kind of harmonious, there was unjust things surrounding your connection that stopped you both from truly having the life that you both wanted and both deserved. So, but the beautiful thing is that I think that for some of you, I do feel like, you know, there wasn't a premature passing. It's just that the circumstances in your life continued to be difficult, but the difference is this time around you both had each other, and so that made things more than worth it. And I feel like there could have been one significant child that you both had together, and that actually Spirit like needed to be born just for other future events to happen. Like this person needed to be born, your child between you and this person needed to be born. But I want to get more information. So I just want to know, Spirit, what were the beautiful aspects of this connection and how did it end? Okay, so we have the Universe in reverse. We have the Four of Cups upright. Tell me more about this connection, please. Spirit. We have the Magician. Yeah, high-level soulmate. So this was definitely a soulmate of some kind. And with the Universe in reverse, I feel like... Actually, let me get the other cards and then I will say for sure what is going on here. So we have the Six of Wands in reverse. One more, Spirit, please. Okay, so then on the back of the deck, we have the Three of Swords in reverse and the Three of Pentacles upright. Okay. Wow. Okay, so I think... So you and this person might have actually... Oh, no, sorry. I'm getting like different information and it's all flowing. So with this Four of Cups here, if one person did pass away, if one of you did, the other person never stopped thinking about them, and life was really difficult after. They never really got over that heartbreak. But what I'm seeing here is that part of the reason Spirit brought you two together was not only to have like a child, but this child might have not been an actual child. It could have been a business of some kind, a hobby or a trade that set your descendants up for success, or set one of you up for success and then continued success moving forward. With the Universe card here, it's like you didn't get to completely fulfill your mission with one another. And with this Six of Wands in reverse, I feel like that's confirmed. Like Spirit had more planned for the both of you, but something happened where somebody died in an accident, died prematurely, or you weren't able to accomplish everything that you wanted because of societal factors outside of that. But with the Magician here, I feel like this was a very important lifetime for the both of you, because it taught you a lot about just hard lessons that you needed to learn. It's kind of like for both of you, this was a lifetime where you didn't get everything that you wanted, but it created inertia for the next lifetimes for your soul to be more determined to overcome a lot of circumstances. It's like you both overcame a lot, but it seems like wherever you moved to, there were further difficult circumstances. Like it could have been like maybe it was hard to find a job in this new place, or maybe it was hard to get established, or like I said, maybe there was a famine or a plague or something like really unfortunate that happened, but you both were together. And I think that the love that you shared, although not as long as you both wanted it to be, and not as prosperous as you two hoped. Like I have this image of two people like on a boat, or something, where they're talking about like all these plans. It's like you guys had these really intense heart-to-hearts where you just talked about, you both spilled your stories to one another, and you both talked about like what you wanted, and it was just kind of this immediate like love at first sight thing. And so if you and this person met and before you left to go, because it's either there's two possibilities here, like I said, and I've just been kind of like trying to get the information and see how it lines up. But for some of you and this person were from the same place and were in love with each other, but this butterfly person was about to be married off, and this cobra person didn't want anyone else, and so you guys made up some kind of like scheme to get out of there, and so that this butterfly person did not have to end up marrying, or the butterfly person did marry this person that they were arranged to be married to, and this butterfly person noped out, or the spouse died, and the butterfly person then decided to travel and get out of there. So I guess the point of what I was trying to say is that you two either decided to leave together and had all these plans and like all of these ideas of what you wanted to do and what you both wanted to achieve, or you met while traveling to this new place. You both decided to go to the same place, and you both met each other, and you just knew immediately the universe had brought you both together. And so with this Four of Cups here, I do feel like there was definitely some type of the person that stayed behind after one of you passed on. It was very hard for them to continue, and even though they had all this power, they never fully actualized it because they were pretty brokenhearted. And I honestly would not be surprised if the other one of you passed on soon after, because without one there wasn't the other. And so Spirit's kind of saying that in this incarnation you weren't successful in everything that you wanted to achieve and like everything that the universe had in store for you, but you were able to establish foundations for your not your ancestors, but like your future generations, like that you were technically the ancestor of. But with this Magician, I think that, because like the soul bond between the two of you was so strong, you were just called to each other in a way, and external factors, external circumstances took one of you away too soon, and the other, I feel like, followed at some point when they were just ready to be done. I almost feel like they kind of gave up after this person was gone, after your loved one was gone, like your person was gone, I guess. It's so hard for me to word this, I'm so sorry. But it was really hard for one of you to just continue in life in this new place without them. And, having a child probably helped ease that burden. But I think that at the end of the day, it really wasn't the same without each other. And I think that there were things that, you didn't get to fulfill in this life, but in this particular life that maybe you are going to see as a result. I feel called to pull more cards. So I guess, Spirit, what lessons do you want pile 1 to take from this past life? The King of Wands. What lessons do you want? The Moon in reverse. What lessons? Okay. Okay, so we have the King of Pentacles, and then we have the Queen of Cups and the Six of Cups in reverse. And on the back of the deck, the Princess of Cups, the Page of Cups. Okay. So what Spirit wants you to know about this connection is that this connection was meant to teach you both how to stand in your power and to take power into your own hands sooner. And with this Moon in reverse, it's meant to show you that a lot of your fears are just illusions, and but also there are things that we don't quite understand. And I actually think that this lifetime for the both of you was really integral in terms of understanding your soul a bit better. And I feel like one thing that Spirit is saying is that you can trust the intuitive hits that you receive. With the Six of Cups in reverse, you may not have met this person yet, but they definitely are a soulmate. If not, you already know who this person is. You could be in separation with them is what I'm hearing. Because with the Six of Cups in reverse, I feel like this is somebody that you could be connected to in this lifetime. But even with it in reverse, it's possible that they may not be, the other person may not be incarnated. They might be watching over you right now. But with this King of Pentacles and the Page of Cups and the Queen of Cups, I feel like Spirit is asking you to look on the lighter side of life, because there are a lot of really difficult things that we all go through. And I feel like Spirit is saying not only do you have the power, but you have the resources and the intuitive abilities to follow your dreams and go after what you want. You're no longer bound by the societal conventions or the belief systems that forced you in this past life to not be able to actualize your true potential. And I think one thing that Spirit wants you to know is that you have all the power in this lifetime to create the life that you want. And they want you to appreciate the fact that you have a lot more autonomy to follow your dreams than you once did, and that your soul in the past knows what it's like to have all these dreams, have all these desires, all these wishes, and then not be able to fulfill them because of what's going on societally. So Spirit wants you to really stand in your power, protect your dreams, and trust that they will bring you abundance. And never be afraid to look on that childish fun side of life, because your soul has been through a lot and it's been really difficult. And I think that for you, understanding your emotional depths could be really helpful and expanding your psychic abilities. I feel like Spirit might actually show you this lifetime in a past life regression if you are ready for it, or if you so want to, because I think that there are deeper lessons, and because it's a general reading, I can't really like pinpoint the exact lessons for you that could actually really help you understand more about your soul. And then this particular soul connection is what I am hearing. But pile 1, I'm going to leave this reading here. Thank you guys so much for watching this all the way through. If you did, I would say let me know down in the comments how it resonates, but it's not like you can be like, oh yeah, I remember that lifetime. 1634, what a good time. You know, like so at least comment, you know, does any of this resonate? Is your South Node in any of these signs? What does this look like to you? But if you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you left a like and subscribed. I quickly did just want to say thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed to my Patreon. If you're interested in that, it will be linked below. But I also wanted to thank you guys for 150,000 subscribers. That is so insane to me. I am so grateful. But yeah, I am going to leave this reading here. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it opened your eyes a little bit. And I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye. Hi there, Pile 2. If you guys chose this Strawberry Quartz and the Guided Hand Tarot, this is going to be your reading on your past life relationship. So we're going to use the tarot to get a lot more details, but first I want to see who you both were in this past life. You may know this person, you may not. Because it is a past life romance, it is going to be dependent, but we will start. So to start, we have the Outlaw. We have Strength, number 44. I put that up and immediately realized it would definitely not be in the frame. And then we have Flying, number 20. And then we also have the Deer. I'm gonna use these, I think. Okay. So describing the first person, we first have the Deer, and Femme Fatale highlights the erotic energy of the feminine, opens your heart when dependency is rejected, and the shadow attributes were inappropriate use of sensuality, attachment to money, and power. And actually, I think I'm going to put the Deer here. Be a deer and change the cards is what my guides are telling me. And so the attributes related to the Deer are wedge, somebody trying to come between you and a friend or something you want. We have heart, love, deep affection, and caring. We have May. And we have target, a goal-oriented person. So with the months, the first thing I want to say is check your south node and see what sign it is in, because it's possible. There are certain things that say that the sign in your south node could be the sign that you were in a past life. So for example, my south node is in Pisces, so it's possible that I was a Pisces in a past life. But this could also just be attributes a significant month. Take it how it resonates for you. And then the second person, we have dilettante, delights in the arts without having to be a professional, alerts you to the danger of becoming superficial in your pursuits. And we have the Nightingale. And then finally, so this is the Nightingale person, this is the Deer person, and so the attributes for the Nightingale person are nest, and emotionally secure, loving family is important to you. We have Harp, great happiness. We have Dragon, beware of self-delusion. And we have February. So what I am really getting here, truth be told, is it's quite an interesting energy. The fact that we have the Outlaw here, this is all about going against the grain, doing things differently, and daring to be different, essentially. And so what I'm seeing here is that this Deer and this Nightingale were definitely married, 100%. And in fact, what I'm seeing is that this Deer and this Nightingale, I think that you both actually grew up in the same place, in the same area. And it might actually be I'm even hearing same village. And the Deer person, I'm definitely thinking that the Deer person was a woman and the Nightingale was a man. Now, one thing I want to say about who you were in past lives, it's quite possible that in this lifetime you're a man and the person that you're asking about is a woman, or you could literally be anything in a past life. So I would take the side that resonates with your soul the most, because you could have honestly been either or. But I definitely feel like this was a marriage between a man and a woman. And what I'm seeing here is that this Deer person, she was very attractive. And in fact, I honestly feel like Spirit's showing me the image in Beauty in the Beast, where Beauty is walking through the village and obviously super beautiful, and everybody is kind of judging her, and she's like, oh my god, she reads books, so weird. But here's the thing, I hate to break it to you, Pile 2, but I don't think that you were a bookworm like Belle, but you were still really, really awesome. So I will get into that, but what it seems like here is that you had a lot of, you, or if this was your person, had a lot of potential suitors. This dear person had so many potential suitors. And with May here, they could have been a Taurus or a Gemini. But it seems like this dear person, she learned at a very early age that she could use her looks to get what she wanted. And because of that, I think that she really detached from a lot of romance, because what I'm seeing here is that a lot of people, especially once she grew up, did not look at her as a person. They looked at her for her beauty. They looked at her as a potential wife, as somebody that they would want to keep for themselves. And this deer was a very free spirit. And she had a lot of depth to her. And she wanted things for herself. And she knew that she didn't want somebody that only valued her for her looks. And now it's interesting here because when we move over to the Nightingale actually is described, especially in the book, as somebody who is a very good singer, but also looks very plain. And so I feel like the man in this situation, the man that this dear woman ended up marrying, that you or this person, this in a past life that you married, it's so hard talking about this like past life stuff because it could just be anything. So I'm kind of gonna just talk about it like it's a story, because it is essentially a story, but based on a true story. And you can just associate with who you think is the deer and the nightingale. You may not even know this person yet, or maybe this person, the person that you were in this past life connection with, maybe they're not incarnated in this current life. So you may not recognize the other energy, but if there's one energy that you recognize that sounds like your soul, that's the one I would identify with, or you should identify with. But with this nightingale person, they loved the deer for who they were. And obviously looks played into that, but I almost feel like these two were childhood friends or something like that, because this dear person, they knew that the nightingale saw them for who they truly were, and they loved that. In fact, I feel like this nightingale person always knew that they were going to marry the deer, and once the deer started getting older and growing into like a young woman, I feel like this nightingale was like really jealous and really nervous because they were afraid that somebody else would take their precious deer away from them. But this deer recognized the connection between her and the nightingale, and they definitely loved each other. Now, what's interesting here is that this nightingale, I definitely think, was more on the shy side. And I think that they, one, had a very beautiful singing voice, and that's kind of what's being stressed to me, is that they could have had a beautiful singing voice and musical talent, or just a beautiful singing voice. In fact, I think they had the opportunity to go and travel and express this, and the only reason they did it was because their wife, the deer, allowed them to. And what I notice here with strength, it's like this, the deer was like holding the world, keeping the fort down at home, and this nightingale was going out and traveling and making money and sending it back home. And what's interesting here is that with this nest here, an emotionally secure, loving family is important to you. Great happiness. Beware of self-delusion. Oh, and February. With February, we could have, this nightingale could have been an Aquarius, which is interesting because we could have Taurus with May and, or possibly Gemini. And then with this nightingale, we could have Aquarius with February, or Pisces. But the nightingale is being represented by Earth, and the deer, the nightingale is represented by air, and the deer is represented by Earth. So the nightingale could have been in Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. The deer could have been a Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. It certainly doesn't have to be. But this deer person, they, or she, I guess, she or they, she encouraged the nightingale to go out and follow his dreams. She thought his voice was beautiful. She'd heard it plenty of times. And I feel like she said, go out, make that bag and send it home. And so what's kind of interesting is that I feel like these two were at a distance at times. And it's like the deer was at home taking care of the family, and the nightingale was out kind of like touring and making money, because what it seems like is that there were not a lot of opportunities in the hometown that these two grew up in. And it's also possible that there was some kind of like plague or something like that. I don't want to say plague, maybe like a famine or something. But the main idea of this, because what's interesting is that we have dilettante, delights in the arts without having to be a professional, alerts you to the danger of becoming superficial in your pursuits. I feel like this person would have never capitalized on using their voice if this deer hadn't encouraged them to. But kind of what I'm seeing here is that while this nightingale was gone and touring, this deer was actually what I'm hearing is getting things done, like holding down the fort, carrying the whole world on the weight of their shoulders, being, you know, I'm what I'm guessing is that this deer was, you know, a mother taking care of children, and, you know, obviously really missed this nightingale a lot, but she was very supportive of the nightingale's dreams, and also this was the best way for them to make money, is kind of like what I'm hearing. But I do think that at some point the nightingale might have become disenfranchised by their, actually no, that's not it at all. I was looking at that self-delusion in this dilettante, and I feel like this nightingale believed that they weren't talented, and so they didn't really share their voice with anyone. But once this deer showed them that they could do this, then they were feeling safe enough to go after that, because the nice thing was that they could always go home to this deer and their family. These two loved each other very much. I definitely feel like this was a beautiful, beautiful connection. And I think the hardest part for them was that in order for this nightingale to follow his dreams and also make money, they had to be apart. But it was kind of just the sacrifice that they were willing to make. And so this deer person, you know, she was like, I'm happy to hold the fort down here to take care of everything. You know, you go out, you follow your dreams, make that money. And every time this nightingale would come home, it would just be very sweet. And so I feel like this deer person gave the nightingale the structure and the motivation and the beliefs that the nightingale needed in order to follow their dreams. So this was definitely very fated. And I definitely think that there was a I don't think anything came between these two. It was someone is trying to come between you and a friend or something you want. The wedge between these two was the fact that in order for the family to survive, the nightingale had to be gone. But I feel like, you know, the nightingale always wrote letters, always tried to stay in contact as much as they could. And this deer person actually remained faithful. I say that and then I'm like, wait. I do feel like these two loved each other and remained faithful, but it's possible that this deer person sometimes wanted companionship, and being a femme fatale, they may have had people, this deer person may have used other people to get what they wanted, but it was not like, it wasn't in a romantic context. It wasn't because they were interested in them. It was only more so for survival, because with this target, a goal-oriented person, this deer is very practical. And she only had one love in this lifetime, and that was her nightingale. And I think just the hardest thing for her was being separated from that and the loneliness that can be involved with that. But I don't think that there was any unfaithfulness. I think that this deer was just smart and used her looks to her advantage to get her family what they needed. And this nightingale, you know, sometimes was gone for long periods of time, and due to that, they this deer might like flirt with neighborhood men just to like get that attention, but it wasn't real. But with this heart here, love, deep affection, and caring, like the deer's heart belonged to the nightingale, and for the nightingale, all they cared about was their nest at home. And that was what made them happier more than anything. And so they were willing to finally come out and share their voice once it meant taking care of a family and taking care of what needed to be done, and supporting their family. And so I think that they had maybe kind of an unconventional relationship, because from the outside, I think people looked at her and they were like, oh, why are you with him? Like, there's so many better options, like in the villager's mind is kind of what I'm hearing. And the Nightingale, they had a very unconventional career that a lot of people were like really confused by. But everything you all did, it was for your family. And I'm definitely intrigued to see what's going to come out about family, because I think family was huge for the both of you. And yeah, this deer person was very smart, and they knew how to hold the fort down while the Nightingale was gone. And I think that the reunions between you two were always very exciting and very passionate is what I can say. Because yeah, this Nightingale definitely had low self-esteem, and they did not believe that they were skilled or talented. And I think it really took this deer person to kind of get them out of their shell and help them realize that they were more talented and that they could actually support their family that way. So now I'm intrigued to see what Spirit is going to say about the timeline of the relationship and the specifics of what happened. This is the Guided Hand Tarot, if you were wondering. And I believe it is on Etsy. But yeah, this one, it definitely seems like there was very authentic, genuine love between the two of you. But one of the most difficult things was like, it seems like both of these people's souls' purposes were to do the things that they were doing. So it seems like you and your romantic partner, you were doing what you were supposed to do. But the hardest thing was being separated from one another at certain times. And because this was in a past life, you know, it's not like you could text each other or call each other, because there was no, it was letters and very, very long travel times and things like that. So Spirit, give me the timeline of this relationship and what happened. What was this past life relationship truly like? Okay, so we have the Moon. We have the Ace of Pentacles. We have the Page of Swords. Okay, so what else, Spirit? Okay, we have the Eight of Pentacles. The King of Swords. And on the back of the deck, the Queen of Wands. Okay, so this actually makes a lot of sense. So the King of Swords was definitely this Nightingale, and the Queen of Wands was definitely this deer, and that's why this femme fatale energy is coming out. But I actually think that there was a very significant sun, specifically a sun between the both of you, which is represented in this Page of Swords, that I think went on to do very great things, but also was very intelligent and had like this sun had the best qualities of both of you. And with this Moon card here, what I'm feeling is that there was an intuitive awareness from a young age, either within, I think it was within the Nightingale, less so the deer. Like the Nightingale always knew that they were going to marry the deer, and that it took the deer a little while to kind of realize that they would have the happiest life with the Nightingale. But I think that they learned at the end of the day that that was where they wanted to be. And I'm also hearing something about working. So it's possible that this, that you or your person, whichever one was the deer, they ended up working while the Nightingale was gone, and that was probably not common for women at the time. And so people might have looked at her, or if that was you, looked at you like you were very odd, and they might have almost feared you in a specific way, because it wasn't common for women to do that. But I do feel with this Page of Swords, there were like a lot of letters written between the both you and your person, whoever was staying home and whoever was gone. And I think that you both were very patient with one another, and you were very oh, the bird sounds so pretty. There was just a lot of there was a lot of impatience. Like, it's almost like the deer was just counting down the days to whenever the nightingale would get back, and always looking out for letters. But with this Ace of Pentacles here, I feel like both parties knew this would be a fruitful and successful connection, and so they had to move forward. There was like an intuitive knowing that like there was deeper reasons for these two being together. And I feel like the both of you were like psychically connected. So you might have dreams about one another, or you might know more about one another, or about what was going on at the time through your dreams. But I'm actually going to get more cards first because I want to see more. So Spirit, what else can you tell me about this relationship? Okay. So let's see. This is Five of Wands. So this is the Five of Wands in reverse. We have the Nine of Cups upright. Let's see what else, Spirit. Okay. We have Justice in reverse. And we have the Knight of Cups in reverse. We also have the Three of Wands in reverse, and on the back of the deck, the Six of Cups in reverse. Okay. So it definitely seems like the beginning of this relationship was kind of like a dream come true. Neither of you really argued, neither of you really fought, and I actually think the distance between the two of you helped you appreciate each other more when you were home. With this Justice in reverse and the Knight of Cups in reverse, though, I do feel like there could have been difficulties and hardships because of the disconnect at times between the two of you. And it's like the romance and the passion, like I feel like the deer really missed that while the nightingale was gone. And it's possible that there could have been communication difficulties, like maybe at times there were letters missed, or the deer wouldn't hear back, and then she would get really worried, like something happened. It's almost like there was a reunion of some kind and it didn't go very well. Like, it's almost something like the deer thought the nightingale had abandoned them or something and gone on to be more successful, like, or something like that. But I feel like it was just like an argument or something like that. It's really interesting. Because of the Six of Cups here, I feel like that's kind of indicating a soulmate connection. But I think there was frustration on the deer's end because the nightingale wasn't really there to be with their child or their children all the time, even though the nightingale really loved their family. With this Justice in reverse, I feel like the deer maybe got fed up with kind of taking care of everything all the time. She wanted to fulfill her own wishes as well. And so I do think it's possible that that's maybe why she like flirted with other people in town, but like there wasn't any romantic connection attached to it. But Spirit is kind of saying that this did make the deer very lonely, and that the nightingale, I don't know how successful the nightingale was, because some part of me wonders if the nightingale was maybe blinded by their own success, or there were just like miscommunications, misunderstandings, or something like that. But with the Six of Cups in reverse here, it's almost like the more the nightingale left. Oh no, I see what it is. It's every time the nightingale was gone, it was just hard for the both of you. It was just very difficult. And the relationship itself was quite unconventional and unfulfilling, in the sense that when you both were gone, it was like you were just waiting for each other to get back and constantly fantasizing about like your next meeting and being together once again. It's because I definitely think in terms of like spirituality, neither of you are really, you both either like, I feel like you both just literally belong to the religion of whatever area you were born into. And I feel like that religion wasn't very supportive of like psychic connections and stuff like that. It probably honestly wasn't talked about and probably wasn't a thing. So I feel like these two felt a lot more disconnected than they actually were because of the distance and the lack of technology to keep up. But I really want to see here, what does pile 2 need to know about this romantic connection? Because like honestly what I'm hearing is that it's possible that maybe this nightingale was gone for a long time at some point, and the deer hadn't heard back, and the deer was worried something had happened, and so she was just trying to move. She was thinking about like moving forward and fulfilling her own wishes. But let's see here. This 2 of Swords. My gosh. Okay. Okay. So now we have the Sun coming out. Oh, and the 6 of Wands. Oh, this is actually really beautiful. Okay. The 10 of Wands in reverse and the Tower in reverse. Okay, so what I'm hearing is that at some point there was a very close call where this deer thought that the nightingale was gone forever, and she was really holding out that he would come back. She was really afraid. Intuitively, she would think about it. Like, honestly, it could have been upwards of a year or 2 years and like no communication at all. And this deer was like, did something happen? Like, I need help, something like that. And I feel like in the nick of time, the nightingale person got back and had complete explanations as to why they weren't around. And like maybe something crazy happened to the nightingale with this Tower moment. But it seems like this deer was about to start considering somebody else. But I mean, she was heartbroken about it. But she was like, I think they're gone. Something happened. Like they hadn't heard anything. It was like this nightingale had disappeared off the face of the earth. And with this 9 of Wands here, she was holding out because something intuitively inside of her knew that they would come back. And people around her would say, oh, you know, they're probably gone forever. They probably left you or something like that. And the deer refused to believe that because she loved this nightingale so much. And sure enough, just in the nick of time, this nightingale came back. And it was like this. I love that we have the Sun and the Moon here because it just shows like intuitively these two, you and this person, this was you, this was your soul and another soul were so connected that you knew that things would come back around and that they would come back. It's like, it's almost like you would have known if they had passed on or something like that. And so you kept holding out hope, and people were saying, well, maybe they moved on with somebody else. Maybe they didn't want you anymore. And she refused to believe that. And luckily, this nightingale person came back in the nick of time. And in fact, narrowly escaped a Tower moment because this deer was starting to lose hope. This deer was starting to be burdened. It's possible there were a lot of responsibilities and maybe there hadn't been any money. This deer didn't know how to get any money. And so she was about to do something because she was afraid they were gone. This nightingale person was gone forever and she needed to take care of the family. But I feel like Spirit is saying that this story actually had a very happy ending, a very, very happy ending. But I want to see what Spirit wants you to what were your souls meant to learn from this lifetime? Well, we saw that with the Outlaw, doing things differently and going against the grain. But I guess I just feel called to pull a few more cards and just see. Yeah, 4 of Swords. Because I feel like people told the deer over and over and over that she needed to move on and that this nightingale was gone, that they were never coming back. And that's not the case. Yeah, Six of Pentacles. The Empress in reverse, and the Seven of Wands. I feel like Spirit is really asking you to know your worth here, because I feel like, yeah, Two of Pentacles in reverse. So I feel like Spirit is really saying that in this lifetime, you don't have to, I'm hearing stuff about dreams making reality. And I think one thing that Spirit is saying is that you deserve to have a balanced connection and to know your worth. Because with this Seven of Wands, you might have to fend off a lot of people who are interested in you for the wrong reasons. And when I say for the wrong reasons, either because you're very generous or you're very caring. But Spirit is saying don't settle for less. You'll know when the right person comes along. You might already be with them and you might already know who they are. But Spirit is saying know your worth and don't force something that doesn't feel right to you. When it comes to romantic connections, it seems like you and this person, like if this person is incarnated on earth right now, whether they're the deer or the nightingale, for a lot of you, I feel like they're the nightingale. You will know when you meet this person, if you meet this person. But with this Empress here, I feel like Spirit is asking you to know your worth and to believe that you are amazing and to believe that you are deserving of love and that you are deserving of the best in life, that you don't have to settle for less. The things that you see in your dreams can be a reality. But Spirit's asking you not to give away your resources to those who are unworthy. Because if you don't... Also, there's kind of something about not believing in happiness and not believing in what you deserve. So I feel like Spirit is saying that you deserve this and that things don't have to be unbalanced. In fact, Spirit's really asking you to be hopeful in this situation. Be hopeful that you can find love. Be hopeful that you can find... this right connection for you, because in this past life, either you or this person didn't give up hope. Okay, this makes sense now. You or this person didn't give up hope that this person would come back, and they did, you know, from their journeys, because this person, this deer, loved her nightingale so much, and despite the lack of balance, everything still turned around. And so I feel like Spirit is saying, you know, focus on the good in your life, focus on what you have, and have hope that this person will come around. You know, don't be giving your time and energy to people you know you don't deserve it just because you want affection or attention. Focus on your dream life. Focus on what you truly want. And also there's another... I feel like Spirit is saying that you could get more insight about this specific past life and past life regression and meditation, but that you can fight the odds and have this great love that you want, but you have to believe that you're worthy of it, and you have to stop giving away your power and your resources to people who you know aren't worthy and deserving of it. But pile 2, I'm gonna leave this reading here. Thank you guys so much for watching all the way through. If you did, definitely let me know down in the comments how it resonates. I would love to hear. Like you know specifically, yeah, I remember it was 1329, like but if you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you left a like, and if you haven't already, I would love it if you subscribed and joined our happy little fam. Thank you guys, by the way, for 150,000 subscribers. That is so insane to me, and I am so grateful for each and every one of you. And I also wanted to say thank you to everyone who has subscribed to my Patreon. If you're interested in that, you can find it below. If not, no worries. I'm just grateful that you're here. Thank you guys so much for letting me read your cards. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye! Hi there, pile 3. If you guys chose this Opalite Merkaba and the Synesthesia Tarot, this is going to be your reading. So we're going to use the tarot to get details about this past life connection, romantic connection to be specific, but first we're going to look at the connection as a whole and who you and this person were. So to start, we have soul work, and then we have number 51, moonlight, and okay, well, hey there, Fox. Number 42, wide open. And so the first person coming out is being represented by the fox. And then also by child magical in reverse. So the light attribute is seeing the potential for all sacred beauty in all things, the belief that everything is possible. And the shadow attribute is pessimism, depression, and disbelief in miracles, believing that energy and action are not required for growth. And the attributes associated with this fox person are the stork, news of a birth or a new business opportunity. Teapot, deep friendship with someone of the same sex. Tulip, great passion. And July. So what I want to say with the months, actually I'll get into that after I show the other person. So the other person is being represented by the hyena and the student in reverse, which is arrogance in pursuit of destructive knowledge, unwillingness to translate knowledge into action. And then for the hyena's attributes, we have finger, warning you of a problem either now or in the near future. We have March. We have feather, someone you know is undependable and insincere. And egg, success assured with good plans and hard work. So this is very, very interesting. And the one thing that I want to say, in case I didn't say it in the intro, is that your soul can inhabit any type of body. So you can be one gender in one life, and so you could be a woman in this life, and in your past life you were a man. Your person could have been your person could be a man in this life and in the past a woman. So our soul incarnates in different bodies, and the specific energy of what I'm seeing is very fascinating. So what I think this type of connection was, if I'm going to be completely honest, I believe that this was a same-sex relationship of some kind. And I think that it never got to be, I feel like you and this person did not get to be together in this life. And I think that there were important soul reasons as to why. And furthermore, I feel like this is a same-sex connection because despite the different elements, we have the fox and the hyena. They're kind of similar animals, but these two are like opposite. It seems like you and this person in a past life, whichever one you were total opposites. And okay, so I'm just gonna get into it, and here's what I see. So this fox person, not only were they physically attractive in this life, but they also were widely regarded as a good partner. They could have been a Cancer or a Leo. They certainly don't have to be. I've said this in the other piles as well. Check your South Node and see what that's in, because it might be indicative of what you were in your most recent past life, which this past life might not be your most recent past life. So I wasn't specifying. I just wanted Spirit to tell me about a past life of yours that is significant. And with the hyena, oh, and the earth signs, by the way, are Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus. And so this is kind of the fox. And then the hyena is represented by the fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. And with March, we have Aries and Pisces. So that's kind of the energy that this hyena person, or that's the signs that this hyena person could have been associated with. But what I'm seeing here is that these two are not supposed to be together for a reason, because they had very important soul work to do. But what I'm seeing here is that I think the two of you purposefully incarnated into the same sex because at the time when you were both born, that was outlawed. So there already was a lot of societal conventions. And the reason why I feel so strongly about this being a same-sex relationship is because we have deep friendship with someone of the same sex and great passion. And what I'm thinking here is historians are so guilty of, talking about, for example, a woman and saying, oh, she never married, she had really good friends that she lived with, you know, she had a roommate or something, and they were roommates. Like, LGBTQIA people have always existed, but the representation of them has not always been there, unfortunately, because of societal conventions. And so what I'm saying is that this was, even if you know exactly who this person is and you're both currently incarnated in this life together and you are of the opposite sex, it does not matter. Like, in this lifetime, you and them were the same sex. And because you've been many different lifetimes in different bodies, it's not surprising that this happened at some point. But what I feel like is that you two were opposites in a lot of ways. And truthfully, I feel like you both were women. That's honestly the vibe I get, especially with the two figures in the cards being women and the egg over here and the stork over here. I do feel like these were two women, but it could have been two men. I'm not totally sure. But what I'm seeing here is that you two had this like really intense bond, and I'm looking at that figure kind of crudely now, but I feel like this was, there were definitely hard feelings here after some point. Like, obviously you two were keeping the connection a secret, but I actually feel like what severed this connection was the fox person getting married and having children. Like, it's like, it seems like the fox person went on to live a very traditional life because they felt like that's what they had to do and that's what they were destined to do. They didn't want to live life in secret. They didn't want to live life in fear. And actually, in fact, I feel like whoever this person married is so insignificant that like the fox person didn't feel anything for them at all. Maybe feelings of like appreciation, but that's it. Because the fox person literally never stopped thinking about the hyena. And so the hyena person is interesting because they, or I guess she, like, I want to use the pronoun she for both of them. But I'm just going to use they to be safe because it could be different. But they were pretty cynical, and they were more than happy to keep this relationship going in secret. And so I feel like that was really hard for the fox because they wanted to be open. They wanted to live their life not in fear. They wanted to live their life freely, and to be with the hyena, that just simply couldn't happen. And so, but the hyena was much more, I feel like the hyena was really scorned by the decision that the fox made. And so despite all the passion and all the love here, I think these two disconnected and went their separate ways because what each of them wanted was just incompatible. And so I feel like the hyena person probably felt really scorned and had a very negative viewpoint on love and romance after that. I feel like this hyena person probably blamed a lot of their problems on the fox. And I think that's partially because they were hurt, and also because this hyena person with the student in reverse was kind of unwilling to recover from that. Success assured with good plans and hard work. And so with this hyena, I feel like what happened here, they were so heartbroken and scorned over it. Like, look at these like wilting tulips. It's like this hyena person decided to stay in the shadows. Like, they didn't even kind of want to exist in modern society. It's almost like they disappeared. And I wonder if the fox, like, I definitely feel hard feelings happened here. And neither of these two stopped ever thinking about each other, is like kind of what I'm hearing. But the hyena person kind of went their own way because they were really hurt by what happened. They viewed the fox person as undependable and insincere. And the hyena never really actualized their success because they they weren't able to get over this in such a way that they just felt scorned. It changed their whole being. Because the hyena is somebody who, they were a bit prideful, a bit egotistical, and I feel like they decided to live like a nightlife type of life for that time period. So I would not be shocked if this was in some type of major city, and truthfully, this could be like a really long time ago for some of you. Like I'm hearing like Constantinople. I wouldn't go as well. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say. I heard Constantinople is just one thing that I heard, but I feel like this person moved to like some type of city, and they the hyena person, they were involved in like nightlife in the city, and they didn't really have much of a direction. I feel like they were so scorned by this, whereas the fox, I feel like, went on to have a very traditional connection with somebody. And I don't know if maybe they felt passion for this, for their husband or their wife, if this was two men. But like I said, the biggest vibe that I get was that this was two women. Although it could definitely have been two men, because like I said, yeah, it could be whatever. The fox never forgot about the hyena. In fact, I feel like the fox sometimes wondered what would have happened if I had gone for it. But I feel like at the time, these two were young when this connection happened. In fact, they might have been each other's first loves. So I feel like these two had very different ideas of what they wanted in life. And what's interesting is that we have 51 and 42, and even though they're different numbers, they reduced to 6. And I think the thing that never changed between these two is that they always had love for each other, but it took the hyena a lot longer to get over whatever happened between you both. And I feel like the fox person stayed wherever you two grew up, and they had a very traditional life, and they had children, you know, with that Cancerian, like, motherly energy. I could totally see that being a thing. But they never lost passion for the hyena. And I think sometimes they hoped that the hyena would come around. But there was clearly a sole reason why these two had to be separated. And I think this separation lasted the entirety of the lifetime, because you two kind of were just like, okay, well, I'm going to follow this traditional life. The fox genuinely believed that they were meant to follow a very traditional life. And I think that's because they were in this lifetime. Whereas the hyena, I think the hyena really had hopes that somehow this could work and that they could make it work. And the fox still decided to choose a traditional life where, you know, they didn't have to hide their love from somebody. They didn't have to hide anything from anyone. But the hyena, I feel like the hyena would have chosen love over anything and was more than happy to hide. And I think that comes down to a lot about just their personality traits. You know, I feel like the hyena was maybe somebody, you know, more quirky, introverted, maybe a night owl, whereas I feel like the fox was more traditional. They had ideas of what they wanted to be. And I also think there was family pressure here as well. I feel like the fox was very close to their family. They were very close to family values, and I think that they just felt like they had to be on this very traditional path, whereas the hyena was scorned by this forever. Like, neither of these two forgot one another. But I think that there was a lot that the hyena had to learn about forgiveness and understanding. I feel like in a lot of ways, the hyena did not listen to a lot of the lessons. You know, the hyena played the blame game a lot, whereas the fox, you know, kind of just always had those what ifs. And the hyena was just a memory of theirs almost, that they always thought about and I feel like the fox person always talked about this great friend, the hyena, that they had, and they never really let go of it. But I think that by the time you and your person finished this lifetime, you had very different attitudes towards love and towards life. So I'm very intrigued to see what's going to come out here. So we're going to do this a bit differently than I did in the other piles. I'm going to do the top row, and that's going to kind of represent the fox's past life and in relation to this love connection. And then we'll look at the hyena's life and in relation to this connection. And then we'll see, and then we'll go from there. So yeah, this is really interesting because Spirit's kind of indicating to me that you and this person, whether you're the fox or the hyena, were meant to meet and have this like passionate love pretty early on in life, but that was all it was meant to be. And because there was important soul work that needed to be done. So I'm very intrigued to see what's going to come out here. This is the Synesthesia Tarot. If you were curious, it is on Etsy. And I think this is really interesting too, because I've never picked up on something this specific before. And I want to stress, like, even if you're straight as a board in this lifetime, you weren't then, like, because it's not about like the sexuality, it's about the soul in the body. Other than that, it didn't really matter. So you and this person could be straight in this lifetime, but back then y'all were not. So okay, one more shuffle and then we're gonna go for it. Okay, so Spirit, can you give me the fox's life in relation to the hyena and their life moving forward after this connection? Okay, Ten of Swords, yeah. Okay, what can you tell me about the fox, Spirit? Strength in reverse. Can you tell me about Six of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles? Okay, yeah, I think the fox married for money. Not gonna lie. Page of Pentacles, yeah, had a child. And on the back of the deck, the Eight of Wands in reverse. Okay, just gonna move this candle slightly. So then, Spirit, can you show me the hyena's life after this love connection? The Chariot. Yeah, the hyena, she was like, I'm getting out of here. Fuck this. Ten of Cups in reverse. Yeah. Oh, this breaks my heart. Let's see. Queen of Swords in reverse. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. For I would say for a good majority of you, this was a female same-sex relationship. 100%. The Fool. Yep, I'm starting over. The Knight of Wands. And on the back of the deck, the Five of Pentacles. So, wow. Okay, yeah, this is so clear. It's like not even funny. So, what happened to the fox? So, I think the hyena and the fox were... I feel like the fox genuinely considered giving up all they thought they wanted for something with the hyena, because that's how deep and passionate the love was between these two. And I mean, like, I'm definitely, like, y'all got physical. Y'all were very, very close. But the fox, I feel like, had a marriage offer from somebody very abundant that could have taken care of them for the rest of their life and also give them the opportunity to have kids. And not only that, I feel like whoever this was with this King of Pentacles, I feel like they had a lot of social prestige, and I feel like that intrigued the fox as well. And I feel like the fox was much more grounded in the 3D than the hyena was. And I feel like the fox was did not believe that they could have a good life with the hyena because they would have to be in hiding. This fox didn't want to hide. They wanted to be out in the open. You know, they knew that they were a catch, like a good partner. And that's why I feel like this fox had a lot of opportunities. And so with this Ten of Swords here, I feel like when this connection ended, it broke the fox's heart just as much as the hyenas. But the fox believed that they weren't strong enough to go against the grain and pursue this connection and constantly be in hiding. Like, I feel like this was a time period where not only was this not accepted, but like it could harm them. They could be in danger. And I also think children were very important to the fox. I feel like they really wanted to have children. And obviously at the time, the technology did not exist for that. And I feel like, you know, just societally, even just things like adoption and stuff like that weren't really a thing. And so I feel like this fox wanted to have children. And I think that was a big thing as well. And so I feel like the fox did not feel like they were strong enough to go against everything they wanted, even if it meant sacrificing the greatest love they had ever experienced. And so they ended up marrying this King of Pentacles person. And actually, I think that maybe the fox grew up pretty poor, and that's part of the reason why they married this King of Pentacles. And it's very clear to me that this fox did have a child with this Page of Pentacles because it belonged to this king. And so essentially what happened here is that I feel like this is why the king isn't coming through at all. Like, he sucked. Like, I'm not gonna lie, he sucked. And he was very emotionally unavailable, possibly even abusive. There was definitely a lack of balance and a lack of power, and I feel like the fox definitely felt trapped. But the silver lining of all of this was that the fox had this child, this Page of Pentacles, that made life worth living, truthfully. It was this child, and this fox could have had lots of children, and maybe this is representative of all of that. Could have even had like 6. This is like making me think of a windmill. But I feel like the fox, when they looked back at the end of their life, they wished that they had contacted the hyena. They wish they didn't. Here's the thing, it's like they didn't wish they had done things differently because they were very grateful to have their children and stuff like that. And with this 8 of Wands in reverse, I feel like they didn't regret anything, but they did just like wish that they could have said something. They wish they could have seen the hyena one last time or something like that. It really just, the fox had to look at the hyena fondly because the hyena was the escape from the fox's reality. And I feel like when the fox was ready to pass on, they were hoping that the first person they would see was the hyena. They were really hoping. And with this 8 of Wands in reverse, I feel like their life after this love was never as rich, as full, as abundant again. I feel like this fox really struggled with bouts of depression, bouts of crippling like loneliness and anxiety. And I feel like the fox really just had a tough time. And yeah, I feel like they looked back fondly on their time with the hyena because that's really all they had to go off of. Now moving on to this hyena with this Chariot here, I feel like as soon as this happened, the hyena was like, I'm getting out of here. It's like they pictured this 10 of Cups life with the fox, and while it was definitely unconventional and it was definitely different, it was beautiful to them. And when the fox ended things, it crushed their whole world. It crushed their dreams. And it made the hyena very bitter. Very, very bitter. The hyena moved away. So I feel like the hyena moved away to a very populated city. I'm also hearing Rome, and I'm hearing London. Doesn't have to be though, because I definitely just it could have been different, like a populated city in some country on planet Earth. So I hope that's specific enough for you. But yeah, this hyena was really disenfranchised by what happened, and I think it made them very bitter and truthfully borderline verbally abusive towards people. And I think that they had a very bitter idea of the fox after that. They viewed the fox as, they kind of villainized the fox, the hyena did, because it's like it's the fox's fault that the hyena wasn't able to have this 10 of cups, this beautiful life with them. And so yeah, so the hyena noped out really fast. And with the Fool card being here, it's like they were ready to start over. They were just like, there's nothing left for me here, I'm gone, I'm done. But they were definitely very cynical and very bitter about everything that happened. And so as a result, I don't think that they ever committed to anybody ever again. With this Knight of Wands here, I feel like they were like a player. They were a hit it and quit it type. I feel like they moved around a lot, actually. They could have been a traveler or a nomad of some kind even. But I do think that there was one main city where they resided in, but they never got over this heartbreak. And I think that the only thing that they were able to do by the end of their life was come to terms with the fact that they didn't need the fox, and that, like, even though they missed them, at least it happened. With this Five of Pentacles in reverse, I feel like and it's possible that they knew that the fox's life hadn't gone very well, maybe through word of mouth from people in their hometown. It's almost like the hyena almost like checked in is kind of what I'm feeling. And if you notice, it's like the hyena is kind of looking in their peripheral and the fox is like looking forward. So I feel like the fox never knew what happened to the hyena, but the hyena still checked in on the fox. And I think that for them, they just wanted physical things after that. They weren't interested in anything else. And I feel like by the time they ended their life, I didn't even realize I said that. So it's possible that for some, this hyena person did just go ahead and end their life themselves. But for others, I feel like they just, by the time that they passed on, they had made peace with the situation, but they never stopped missing the fox. But I think that because there were bitter feelings there were hard feelings there, it was not easy for this hyena person to move forward in life. And I think that their bitterness actually stopped them from succeeding in life and from moving forward. And so that was kind of the soul work that they needed to do, was to work through that. But I want to see what Spirit wants you to know about this connection now, or like what lessons you're meant to learn or whatever. So Spirit, what does pile 3 need to know about this past life connection? Okay, so Page of Swords in reverse. Yeah, it's like you guys never communicated after this was severed. We also have the Knight of Cups in reverse and the Queen of Cups in reverse. What else, Spirit? We have the Tower. Oh my goodness. Okay, that's too many. Okay, what? Okay, well, these are coming out, so I guess I'm gonna take them. So we have the Four of Swords in reverse, the King of Wands in reverse, the Three of Swords, and the Five of Cups. And on the back of the deck, the Hanged Man in reverse. So it doesn't matter whether you are the hyena or the fox. What I'm hearing here is that this lifetime was meant to be a lifelong tower moment, so to speak. Because essentially what I'm seeing here is that Spirit wants you to be more open to choosing love. And you could already be with somebody, you could already choose love. So if this resonates or if this just sounds like you've already learned these lessons, then congratulations. But if you then this is just confirmation that you're doing exactly what Spirit wanted you to be doing. But like, let's say you're looking for love right now, and you or let's say that you are not open to, okay, no matter your situation, here's what Spirit wants you to know. You have more power than you realize with this Hanged Man in reverse. And in fact, it would be beneficial for you to look at things from a different perspective when you feel stuck or blocked. This romantic relationship was meant to make you realize how important love actually is, because not only can it scorn you forever, but it can also make life worth living. And Spirit might be saying for some of you, you need to change how you view love and also trust your intuition. You might not believe that you're deserving of love, or you might be too afraid to let love in. And I feel like Spirit is saying that if you continue to sleep on this, you're not going to be able to invite it in. And with this Page of Swords, I feel like the hyena and the fox regretted never talking ever again. They were figments of one another's imaginations. But with this King of Wands in reverse and this Three of Swords in reverse, I feel like Spirit is also saying it's possible that you've had really dysfunctional relationships in the past, and Spirit really does not want you to continue that. Spirit wants you to heal from the heartbreaks that you, if you have had them, that you need to heal. But they also want you to realize that a beautiful relationship, a happy relationship, everything in the world can go wrong. But coming home to this person, you will never be sad. Like, you will never be fully sad, I guess. Or like, there will always be a silver lining to everything. And so I feel like Spirit is asking you to trust your emotional body and trust what your intuition says about people. And if there are people, especially abusive people in your past, Spirit's trying to remind you that not everybody is abusive, and that there are good people out there, but you also have to believe that there's good people out there. It's like, essentially, Spirit, there might be residual effects from this past life currently imprinted on your soul still. Like, this is something that maybe you and this person haven't healed. And I think Spirit is saying that there needs to be a change in how you view the world, because the only upright card we have here is the Tower. And so I think that there needs to be a fundamental change to how you view love and relationships if you're unhappy in your love life or you're looking for a romantic partner. I feel like, one, there needs to be a willingness to be more positive, but two, I feel like the reason why Spirit brought this connection to your attention is because these two had a lot of regrets. And while the fox never regretted the children that they had, they did regret never getting to see the hyena again. They did regret, they realized they chose kind of not the wrong things, because it seems like everything was meant to happen the way it was. But Spirit doesn't want you to repeat this pattern, because it kind of seems like this lifetime for the both of you was meant to be full of lessons about love. And Spirit wants you to learn from them. And so with this Knight of Cups in reverse and this Queen of Cups in reverse, if you struggle with emotional unavailability and are very afraid of love and intimacy, I feel like Spirit's really asking you to explore that so that you can open your heart up to somebody, or not even open your heart up to somebody, but just have peace in the fact that not everyone is out to get you, not everyone is trying to hurt you, not everyone will hurt you, that there are good people that exist and that do just want to love you for you, and that you can have hope. It's time to change your perspective and look at things from a more positive lens. And I also think there is something more to say, that, you know, you need to, I'm hearing act with integrity, but also don't be afraid to take risks and put yourself out there, because life is short and going against the grain is difficult, but it might be what you need in order to have a happy life full of love. These two souls here, they want love. They want genuine love. And I think that in order to do that, whichever soul you are, there's going to have to be a foundational change. But you might already be with someone and be really happy. And so that's wonderful. So you might just look in the past and realize, oh, it wasn't until I invited love, or I was vulnerable, or I was more positive, or whatever you had to learn, that this person came in. So if you're already with this person, this part may not be applicable for you, or it might just show you that you've already learned the lessons you needed to in order to have authentic love. But I think for others, Spirit is saying, you know, they don't want you to play out this type of life again. They want you to be open and willing to accept love into your life and believe that you're worthy and deserving of love, and change your perspective to be a bit more positive. Like, it's like your foundations need to switch up a little bit in order for you to be aligned with like the best love for you, or something like that. But Pile 3, I'm going to leave this reading here. Thank you guys so much for watching this all the way through. If you did, definitely let me know down in the comments how it resonates. I would love to hear. Thank you all so much for 150,000 subscribers. That is so insane to me, and I'm so grateful. If you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you left a like. And if you haven't already and you would like to, I would love it if you subscribed. Thank you guys so much for letting me read your cards. I hope that this resonated, or at the very least was very interesting. I hope you both, maybe you and your person are watching right now. But anyway, I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching this, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye. Hi there, Pile 4. If you guys chose this Thulite Stone and the Embroidered Forest Tarot, this is going to be your past life love reading. So to start off, I am going to look at the connection as a whole, and then later on we will use the tarot to look at the details of this connection. And truthfully, because the piles have all been different, the way I've used the cards has been different. So we'll just have to see what comes out, and then we'll go from there. So to start, we have compassion. And then we have number 11, balancing act. And number 26, deep freeze. And then these two sets of cards will represent both people in the connection. So to start, we have the owl, and the attributes of the owl are the trickster, transcending convention, stuffiness, and predictable behavior. And the attributes are caterpillar, things will not always be this way, a change is coming. Fair woman, dealings or relationships with a woman with blonde, gray, or light hair. We have September, and crown. Honor and respect will come to you. And then the other person in this connection is being represented by the buffalo. And their attributes are the engineer in reverse, but I think both qualities of the engineer are relevant here. We have ability to give creative energy and practical expression, talent for designing resolutions to common dilemmas, and reliance on mechanistic solutions without regard for emotional consequences. So then the attributes for the buffalo are success, tower, solid foundation, success with effort. We have fair man. I swear to God, both of these came out and I was like, what? Fair man, dealings or relationships, or relationship with a fair man with blonde, gray, or white hair. And we have April. So what I am getting here in this past life, and I've said this in the other piles, you can be the opposite sex in a past life. In past life love connections, you can be in love with somebody of the same sex. Every life is different, so it's possible that you could have been the man in this past life, or it's possible you could have been the woman in this past life. It just depends. But what I'm picking up on is this was a heterosexual couple in a past life, and what I am seeing here is that this seems to be a feminine energy and this seems to be a masculine energy, even though it looks like they might be switched because of these cards. I totally get the feminine being on this side and the masculine being on this side, and I'll kind of get into why. But another thing I wanted to talk about was the months. I would look at your south node and see what sign your south node is in, because some people say that that is indicative of what sign you were in a past life, or like the most recent past life, but this may not be your most recent past life, so it doesn't have to. But I kind of just wanted to get signs and energies of who these two people might be. So what I am seeing here is that the main lesson of this life was to learn compassion, compassion for others, compassion for yourself, and compassion for one another. I definitely feel like this was a past life situation where there was some kind of feudal system. It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be a feudal system, but what I feel like is that this was like the quintessential rich girl, poor boy story. You know what I mean? And so kind of what I'm seeing here is that this owl grew up in a very, very prestigious family. But this owl, she was very intelligent. You know, we have transcending convention, stuffiness, and predictable behavior. And in fact, I think that this owl really hated her environment. She felt like she was very trapped. She felt like nobody really understood her. She was obviously very intelligent, being represented by an air sign. She could have been an air sign, but the thing is, well, September we have Virgo and Libra, so could have been Virgo, very analytical, but also Aquarius and Gemini could be relevant as well. But what I'm seeing here is that she was very intelligent, and her family didn't really care about that for her. And in fact, I feel like this owl, she probably had psychic abilities. So if this is you, it's likely that you had psychic abilities in this lifetime, particularly clairvoyance. I also feel like you were probably a night owl, or your person, whoever it was. This owl person, she was a night owl, and she resented, if not despised, the life that she grew up in. And there was a part of her that always knew that she would have to marry for honor, for prestige, or whatever. Because we have the buffalo over here. And the buffalo is somebody not only grounded, but they're also spiritual. And so I feel like when these two met, they felt the intensity of this connection right away. And I feel like the owl probably met the buffalo. Honestly, I feel like the buffalo was working for the owl's family in some way, or the owl met the buffalo while he was working in some capacity. And I think that the connection was magnetic, like right away. And the energy that I get with the fair woman and the fair man, I don't think that you both were just specifically blonde-haired, blue-eyed people. I just think that you both were from the same soul family. And I feel like Spirit is using these two cards to show me that you and this person have very, very deep soul ties. So this is definitely not the only life you two have spent together. But it's like you two immediately recognized each other when you met each other. Not literally like, oh, hey, you're like my soulmate and I've known you from past lives. It's more so just like the two of you could recognize that you both had the same, you were cut from the same cloth, and there was something where you two truly and genuinely recognize each other. And I think one thing that you and your romantic partner in a past life really bonded over was the fact that you both were very intellectual, you had great conversations, and there was just this undeniable connection. And for the owl, this was almost extra heartbreaking because the owl knew that they would not be able to have this connection long term. Because with the crown, honor and respect will come to you, and Caterpillar, things will not always be this way. A change is coming. I feel like this owl person, she knew that she was going to be married off. Like, I'm hearing the song Wake Me Up when September ends. And so maybe for some of you, this was like the father of the household was very important, and she had to do this to make it up to them. And like maybe her father passed away and that was what he wanted. But I almost feel like this owl continued this connection with the buffalo even after she had to get married, because it wasn't a love marriage for sure. It was a marriage out of respect and prestige. And with this balancing act here, I feel like this owl had almost two different lives. And with this trickster manipulating others through duplicity, I feel like the owl kept this connection going for a lot longer after she may have married somebody. And I feel like that was really hard for the buffalo, really hard. In fact, so much so that the buffalo spent his entire life working on his success. And with this engineer here, I feel like the buffalo had a very hard time not being able to be with this owl in this lifetime. And so because of that, it's kind of like he froze his emotions. With this deep freeze here, he knew that he could never love anyone the same way he loved her. And so he focused on his success, on his bag. We have Tower, Fairman, like, you know, the buffalo recognized the owl, and the buffalo was okay with keeping this going in secret. But I feel like what happened was they were about to be discovered. And the owl knew this, because the owl had some type of clairvoyant abilities where she could see what was coming, or she just had an intuitive knowledge that she needed to break it off before something happened. Like maybe her husband was about to find out, or something like that, or somebody might have caught them. So it almost feels like the owl had to literally pretend like the buffalo didn't exist anymore. And I feel like that crushed the buffalo's heart. And so with this deep freeze, it's like his heart kind of froze over, and he might have resented the owl for a while, but that resentment turned to the buffalo desiring to create success for himself. And in fact, with this April card here, so the buffalo could have been a Virgo, Capricorn, or a Taurus, but they could have also been with April an Aries or a Taurus. So yeah, this buffalo spent the rest of their life essentially focused on their own success. They could have moved on, we'll see with the cards. But essentially what I'm seeing here is that the owl essentially had to ice the buffalo out in order to keep the both of them safe. I feel like this owl's actual marriage partner had a lot of power, and also the owl knew that her reputation was incredibly important, and that could make or break her life, essentially. You know, she was really smart. She could read a room. She knew what was going on. And this buffalo person, he knew that, like, he was deeply spiritual as well. And so, like, he had this knowing that, like, he knew this could never, they could never have the life that they truly wanted just because of the societal conventions. And also the buffalo was practical. And I think there was a part of the buffalo where he knew he would never love anyone the way he loved her. And so he either never entertained any other romantic connections. I feel like he stayed single and focused on his bag, but it's quite possible that he indulged in like physical connections and could have been a real Knight of Wands. So we'll see what comes out in the tarot cards. But I definitely think like this buffalo pulled himself out of poverty. I think that the buffalo started some type of really successful endeavor and actually ended life in a much more abundant position than he started. And I think that the owl saw that and knew that from a distance and was actually really impressed. But I think basically the entire point of this connection, like the lesson learning in this lifetime, that both of these two had to learn was compassion for the other and compassion for the other situations. Like the buffalo might have taken it pretty hard at first, or maybe for a while, whereas the owl might have gone about things in a very harsh way that hurt the buffalo, because the owl felt like she was doing what was right and felt like maybe she had to. You know, okay, I don't watch movies with dogs that are about dogs or about horses or about animals in general, because they always make me cry and they're always sad. Personally, hate Marley and Me. Don't watch that movie. If anyone says, let's watch Marley and Me, you say no, because it's a sad movie. And like, anyway, that will make me start crying. But like, you know how in movies like that, you know, there's the main like protagonist at some point is like pissed off at the animal or has to get rid of the animal, and it's not even like pissed off, it's like something happens, they have to get rid of the animal, and they're like, go on, go, get out of here, I never loved you, I don't even want to see you. It was kind of like something like that. I feel like that's what the owl did, because they knew that the buffalo wouldn't take no for an answer. The buffalo's kind of stubborn, and I feel like the buffalo would have been the owl's mistress her entire life if she let him. But the owl, I feel like she realized that this wasn't safe to continue and had to stop. And so I think that she was doing what she felt like was smart and said some pretty hurtful, tough things to get the buffalo to leave her alone. But she was doing it out of the safety of them both. Is kind of interesting. So, but yeah, like that shit makes me want to cry. Like, oh, like telling, you know, the person that she loved most that he had to, you know, get out. It's probably really difficult on the both of them. So what I am going to do now is I am going to see kind of what, I want to see what, like, the owl's life and the buffalo's life, and, like, I want to look at the owl up here and the buffalo down here and just kind of see what happened afterwards, like what spirit wants you all to know. I kind of just want to see their lives, like how separate and how not separate were they, because I know it's going to be different for all of you. So we'll see. Okay. So, Spirit, can you tell me about the owl's life first? Okay. So, the Hierophant in reverse, and I'm going to take this 9 of Swords. Okay, so what else, Spirit, can you tell me about the owl's life? Okay, the Devil in reverse and the 7 of Swords upright. Okay, what else, Spirit? Okay, finally we have the 4 of Swords, and on the back of the deck we have the Empress in reverse. Ugh, yeah. The owl was not happy about this, doing this. What I get right away is that this owl knew, like, they were gonna be discovered or something like that. Because, yeah, this connection definitely continued after the owl got married, because the owl did not care about her husband. She did not like him. But let's see for the buffalo. What happened with the buffalo, Spirit? What really went down here? Okay, so we have Strength upright. Okay, well, that's a bit too much. Okay, I'll take those two. We have the Fool and the Queen of Pentacles. Okay, so we have Temperance. Ooh, tea. Okay. Okay, so we have Temperance, the Hermit, the Sun, and on the back of the deck we have Death in reverse. Okay. So yeah, this connection definitely kept going after, yeah, King of Swords in reverse and Justice in reverse. This connection definitely continued after the owl got married. And what I'm seeing here is that from the owl's perspective, with this 9 of Swords here in reverse, it's kind of like in the Hierophant in reverse, she always had a lot of anxiety, and the Devil in reverse, like, so she viewed as what she was doing to be wrong, which technically yeah, it is wrong to cheat on your significant other, but it definitely seems like this was not a love situation for her. So she was more than okay with doing that. She knew what she was doing was a betrayal, and I think that actually she had to do something that kind of betrayed the buffalo in order to fully break this connection off. And I feel like she never forgave herself for it. I feel like she felt so beautiful around the buffalo. She loved her life around the buffalo. And the only place she could ever see the buffalo after she severed things was in her dreams. And I think that the owl actually slept a lot because that was the only place that she could see them. And she really worried that the buffalo would hate her forever for what she did to sever this connection, because I feel like she had to do something pretty screwed up in order to get the buffalo away from her, because the buffalo was very stubborn. But she was like, this anxiety isn't worth it anymore. I do feel like she was very worried about getting caught, and also very worried about what would happen to the buffalo if somebody caught them. And she knew that this connection couldn't happen. She was married, and she just knew. So on the other end with the buffalo, what I find interesting is that the Strength card came out and there's actually a little owl on top of the deer there. But I do feel like the buffalo tried his very best to keep this connection going. And with the Queen of Pentacles, I feel like that's kind of how the buffalo viewed the owl after the owl moved on. But I also feel like the buffalo may have not stayed single. I could be wrong about that. I feel like the buffalo could have moved on and had a wife of some kind. But I don't think it was ever the same with the owl. It was more for procreation purposes and like logistical purposes. Or instead of, so either the buffalo did go on to marry someone and have a family that they were never truly, like, the connection wasn't the same, it wasn't truly there. The strength of the connection between these two always persevered. But with this Queen of Pentacles, Spirit might just be indicating with that the buffalo, like I said earlier, was just focused on the bag, focused on making money. And especially if the buffalo started out from a very disenfranchised place, you know, maybe the buffalo never reached King of Pentacles status, but they reached Queen of Pentacles status. So like they managed to make a lot of monetary gains in their life, but it wasn't like exuberant, you know what I mean? But with the Fool and Temperance here, I feel like the buffalo felt like an idiot at first when all of this happened. I feel like the buffalo genuinely believed everything that the owl was saying. But I think through a lot of soul searching and over time, the buffalo realized what the owl said wasn't actually true, and that it was more for it's more so because these two knew that it couldn't stay this way forever. With this Temperance, I wonder if there was some type of brief reunion. And by brief, I mean like super brief. Like they got to see each other. And I feel like maybe the owl wouldn't have even looked at the buffalo, but they both felt something. But with Temperance here, it definitely seems like the buffalo always had this hope that they would come back together. But I think that part of me feels like this buffalo hoped that if they had enough money and power, they could somehow make this connection happen. But I feel like they realized towards the end of their life that it wasn't going to happen this time around. And with this Death in reverse and the Sun, the happiness and the rebirth in this connection that the buffalo was hoping for never came. And with the Hermit in reverse, I feel like this buffalo passed away with nobody ever truly understanding him the way the owl understood him, or the buffalo kind of turned into a shut-in and towards the end of his life just kind of avoided everyone and everything. I do think there was a triggering aspect of this connection though, where the buffalo didn't want to like meditate or any, which I don't even know if like they knew what meditation was, but like what I'm kind of seeing is that the buffalo really needed distraction, because when the buffalo wasn't distracted, that was when he would think about the owl. Like the connection was so strong that the buffalo felt like he couldn't escape it. And so he might have tried to move on, which made that more difficult. But I feel like if he did move on and marry somebody, that he was never truly happy. And probably the later half of his life, he wasn't very happy. But with this Hermit in reverse, I think he was grateful that he did move on, because at least he wasn't alone towards the end of his life. But he never opened his heart to anyone again. And if the buffalo did get married, it was a marriage of function rather than love. The buffalo always hoped for change that would never come. And I think this buffalo realized towards the end of their life that it didn't matter how much success and prestige they gained. It wasn't going to change the circumstances. And so I think that this buffalo had wished that they had done more reflection and had listened more. But that's part of life. So I want to ask Spirit what you need to know, whether you're the buffalo or the owl. What does Spirit want you to know in terms of like lessons and why they're bringing this past connection to your attention? Okay, so the Ace of Wands in reverse. Okay, I'm going to take this one, the Eight of Swords in reverse. The Moon in reverse. The Six of Swords. The Magician. And on the back of the deck, the Page of Wands. Okay. So what Spirit wants you to know, pile 4, is that there definitely is some residual energy from this past life, no matter which person you are, that affects the both of you. Four of Wands. I just pulled that off the top of the deck because I was curious, and I think it's meant for you both. With this Eight of Swords and the Moon in reverse, Spirit is saying that some of your fears might be rooted from these past events. And in fact, I feel like Spirit is saying that you have so much more power than you realize. And now that we live in this timeline and in this time period, there are so many more opportunities for success and harmony in life. And Spirit's asking you to follow your passions, but not be afraid to manifest what you want. And that there are certain things that, like, you might honestly want to look into past life regression or just like healing of some kind, because there are things that Spirit wants you to move forward from. It's possible that you already know who this person is that you've had this past life with. It's possible you also don't, and it's possible that this past life person isn't even currently incarnated on Earth right now. But like I said, it's going to be different for all of you. But I feel like a lot of times you might feel very discouraged and trapped and afraid of what the future has for you and for what lies ahead for you. And Spirit is asking you to trust that you can manifest anything that you want. Trust that you can move forward to calmer waters. You can always heal what has hurt you. And I think that what you need to heal from this past connection is probably mostly, I feel like it's acceptance of what was and what is. And I think that Spirit is saying that finding peace with your past in this life and this past life will help you move forward and manifest what you want to happen, because I do think there might be fears when it comes to love and beliefs that you can't truly have this harmonious, beautiful life, and Spirit's saying that you absolutely can. But you might already be with somebody, and maybe this is what you had to learn in order to get to this point. So for some of you, you might just realize, oh, I've learned the lessons I needed to learn. But with here, Spirit is really saying, you can trust your intuition more than you realize, and that your brain kind of keeps you trapped. Your thoughts keep you trapped sometimes, and stop you from moving forward and from taking action. And I think that Spirit is saying it's time for you to trust that you can take action. It's time for you to manifest the life that you want and whatever you want. But most importantly, don't be afraid to follow your passions and enjoy the freedom that you have now to create the life that you want. And if you're already with somebody and this sounds like somebody that you're with, you know, just be proud of yourself of how much you've healed, and that you two have the opportunity to be together in this lifetime and have this harmonious, happy life. You know, maybe you've had a child with this person already, or maybe you're about to have a child with this person. So if you are, congratulations. But I feel like Spirit is saying that this go around, it's meant to be a lot happier, whether with this person or somebody else. And I think that at the end of the day, Spirit just wants you to not be afraid of your future and not feel like everything is just going to devolve into sadness and pain. You know, there's good people out there, and you are deserving of good things and a beautiful life, and you deserve to be positive about those things. You know, negative thoughts don't manifest, but negative thoughts do stop us from manifesting the life that we want. So I definitely want you to consider that and have more compassion for yourself and for others, and try not to take things super personally when you don't understand why certain things happen. But pile 4, I am going to leave your reading here. Thank you guys so much for watching all the way through. If you did, definitely let me know down in the comments how this resonates. Do you know which person you are? Do you know do you know if this person is somebody that you are currently with, or somebody that you know of, somebody that you think you know who it is? I would love to hear. If you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you left a like, and if you haven't already, I would love it if you subscribed. And thank you so much, by the way, for 150,000 subscribers. That means so much to me. I am so grateful to have all of you here. I also wanted to say thank you to everyone who has subscribed to my Patreon, and if you are interested in that, that will be linked below, but obviously no worries. I'm just grateful you're here in general. I am wishing you all a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you are watching this. I hope you enjoyed this reading, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye!